All right. I'm having a couple of issues today. I managed to balk my chat setup. For the life of me, I can't figure out why it's not working on my screen. So I can't actually see. Can somebody... okay. It seems to be working on my camera stuff. So that's fine. AJ, if you're still in the chat, could you just post something there for me so I can check whether it's working? Because if it is, then we can get on with it. Okay, perfect. Thank you. That does seem to be working, which is great. So the reason things are a bit messed up for me is that let's change this song. I don't like that song. I reset my MacBook recently. And I honestly forgot how much work goes into configuring all the things. So I'm missing a whole bunch of things in various places. I hope that you can hear me. I hope that you can see me. So AJ, if you wouldn't mind just giving me a thumbs up or a okay or good or something if you can see me, if you can hear me. I think you can hear me because you posted another message. Carolina says hi. Hey, Carolina. I'm having some technical issues again today, so hopefully you all can see me. Thanks, AJ. That's awesome, mate. Thank you so much. Yeah, so things might be a bit wonky today because I'm not operating at full capacity. Okay. So if you are, let me just move my Slack window out of the way. If you have seen any of my tweets or things, you might have an idea of what I'm getting up to today. I discovered something recently. I discovered it purely by accident. Thanks, Carolina. I discovered that GitHub recently launched a coding agent. And specifically, the coding agent is launched within the GitHub environment. So I showed a little bit of this last week. If you go to any of your GitHub repositories, I'm just going to pick this one. If you have an open issue, you can, let's select that one, for example. You can assign the issue to Copilot. It'll then go off and use GitHub Actions and various other things to go and actually work on the code for you, sort of in the cloud. And then I discovered more recently that if you create a new repository, so I'm just going to start a new repository here. I'm going to just say test for now. You can actually jumpstart your project with Copilot as well. So I knew about the fact that you can request Copilot to review your pull requests. I knew about that. I didn't know about the issue thing. I discovered that recently, and then more recently I discovered this jumpstart your project with Copilot. So you basically can give it a prompt, and it will then go off and do all the things. And I've been having some fun experimenting with that because, as I'm sure you all know, I am a fan of using these tools in a sensible way, in a logical way. I don't go along with the idea of vibe coding, but I do like the idea of using it to generate code for me, which I then check out and I look at and I do things with. So that's going to be my goal today. My goal today is going to be, I want to build a WordPress plugin, a fairly comprehensive WordPress plugin, but I don't want to write any code myself. So if I see a bug, I'm not going to write code to fix it. I'm going to create an issue and let GitHub Copilot fix it. And I'm going to see how far it can get while I am following it and checking out what it's doing and watching and reading the code. We can also chat a little bit about, automated tools that you can use. The one thing that I don't think I have installed at the moment is PHP CS. in my site, but I can set that up on the project if I need to. So that might be some copy pasting of code, maybe not writing of code. But I've had some good experiences with it, and so I just kind of want to see if I sit down start to finish, how it's going to work. So that's the goal today. So I have this. I kind of came up with this idea for building a WordPress job application plugin, primarily because of the fact that there's a file upload feature, and there's also going to be some saving of information in the database. And so all of that kind of needs good security, good data sanitization, only allowing PDFs to be uploaded, that kind of thing. I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and really test this for security. If anybody wants to run security, I'll probably run the plugin checks on it. I'll probably run PHP CS on it. And that's maybe as far as I'll go, but I'll look through the code. I'll see what it's creating, and see what we can come up with. So this is my job spec. I'll share this in the chat if anybody wants to check this out. Oh, I can't share things in the chat like that. Okay, what I'm going to have to do is open up a new tab and drag it over to the side here and open up Twitch, because my chat window in my OBS is not working. So I'll share it in, because my chat window in my shush. I'll share it in the chat window there, if you want to follow along. I wish there was a way you could just pop this stream chat out, but I seem to be having trouble with that today. Anyway, just sending somebody a message quickly. Yeah, okay. So, this is my product design document, whatever you want to call it. It's got the functional requirements, it's got user authentication, custom user type, application fields, name, email, that kind of stuff, cover letter, upload, PDF, handling of the resume, uploaded resumes. The protected server location is going to be interesting. I want to see what it does with that. I wanted to build a WordPress block that we can actually put on any page. I wanted to be able to require folks to register, so that's going to be interesting. So that's all of that. Then I've also got this sort of short version. So this is what I'm going to start working with. So what I did was I took this PRD document that I actually generated in Perplexity. And I took that and I said, summarize it in 500 characters or less. And that's the summary that it's given me there. So that's what I'm going to start with. So let's go back to the new repository and let's say, let's just call it JB job application for the sake of anything better. And then we'll go job application plugin. I'll leave everything as default. We'll pop in the sort of initial prompt. It's quite a short prompt, so we could add some details to it, but I'm not going to. I want to see what it builds for the first time around. And then we'll go create repository. Now, you'll see what this does is it actually starts working on, oh, this is a previous task that I had. I was working on something, so it picks up those tasks. You'll see it says here, Copilot will begin working on your prompt and draft a pull request, which will be ready for you to review. You can view your agents panel here, and you can see the tasks happening. So if I click on that task, for example, there is the pull request that it's created. It's just taken the whole prompt and jammed it into the title. And then it starts working, and you can actually click on the different things. So there's the initial plan. So it's just committed, like, what is it even committed? Nothing. It's just created a committed empty commit. You can click on the started work, which will take you through to the GitHub action, and you can see what it does. So what it does do in the background is it uses the GitHub MCP server. My guess would be that it's using that to connect to other open source projects on GitHub to be able to see code and that kind of thing. That would be my guess. It obviously has, if it's Copilot, you can configure your models. I think I'm currently using the Claude model. I can't remember, to be honest. Just see if it tells you. There's a way that you can check this. Let me go over into my, I think it's in my settings somewhere. Copilot settings, there we go. And let's see if it's got my models enabled. I don't know what the default model is. It might not be Copilot desktop, GitHub, CLI, mobile, Sonnet. Okay, I think maybe it's on auto, so it's going to choose whatever the best is in the agent. Let's see a coding agent. Okay, so your coding agent can access all your repositories. You can specify specific repositories. So that's that. All right, let's go back to the thing. So it starts by exploring the current repository. That's kind of done because there's nothing there yet. Doesn't have a README. So you'll need to create the plugin. Then it gives a bit of a requirements analysis. And then it starts working on the plugin. Now this is essentially, you know, what it would do if you were running it locally. But this is sitting in the cloud. So I'm not connecting to the internet to do this. I'm using my Copilot, my GitHub Copilot open source maintainers license. So I have X amount of requests. That's actually a good question. What I might run out of tokens today. Okay, I've used 6% of my premium requests so far, so I should be okay. Now, while that's busy doing its thing, and this is the one sort of quote-unquote downside about doing this in a live stream, is this does take a while. It takes a few minutes. Sometimes it can take up to 10 minutes. But what I also want to talk about is how I've kind of been testing this stuff. So one of the things that I started doing originally, I don't think I have it installed on my desktop yet, was I was using GitHub Desktop. So I was trying to find a way to build something without actually having to write any code or run any commands or anything like that. So I was using GitHub Desktop, which allowed me to check out the different branches, pull them, test them, that kind of thing. And then I was thinking to myself, it would be really cool if I could do this inside of VS Code. This is a little Mac app that I'm busy building to change my desktop resolutions. It's not currently running. So let me go and show you something here. There is this extension for VS Code. It's just called the GitHub pull request extension. And what's nice about this is you can actually manage both your issues and your pull requests from VS Code. So if you're using VS Code, this is a perfect extension. I generally prefer to use PHP Storm. That's just what I've been using for a while. I've mentioned this a number of times on the stream. But I kind of like the idea of using the IDE to manage everything. And I like the fact that there's this extensions, this pull request extension. And also, I'm not actually writing any code. So the IDE though doesn't really bother me. I don't know if the GitHub extensions, if the GitHub pull request extension exists for PHP Storm. I'm probably going to check that out next. But I do like sort of having everything here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and see if I can connect to this repository straight from VS Code. So to do that, I'm probably going to need to close this folder and clone a repository. Okay, so that's there. This extension I think is built into VS Code already. This is a source control extension. This is just a VS Code extension. So if I go clone repository and I look for, what is that thing called? JB job application. Let's see if it can find that. So JB job application. No, it's looking for a URL. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, let's log into GitHub. Yes, okay, there we go. So that's my account. I think I have already logged into this already. Repository name, JB job. There we go. JB job application. That's the one we want. Okay, it's asking me where I want it. I'm just going to stick it in my projects folder right now. That's fine. And now that's going to do all the cloning and do all the things that I need. Okay, great. So if you have done that before, that's probably news to you. That's probably not news to you, should I say? But I thought that was cool that exists in VS Code. It does in other IDEs as well. But now with this pull requests extension, I can now see the pull request that Copilot is working on, and I can see what it's getting up to from here. And I can also from here I click on View Session, and it'll actually pull the session login for me. So that's kind of cool. It's not pulling anything at the moment by the looks of it. Oh, that's because no, it's still busy. It's still busy doing work. The session log doesn't seem to be working, which is a little bit of a bummer. I was hoping that would work. Let's see what's happening in the actual session itself. Here we go. Okay, so this is still running. Okay, it probably is not sending any recent processing. It's doing things. Yeah, it's still busy. It's busy generating code, so we'll get to see what the code looks like in a second. What I do want to do is I want to have a look at whether it shows the Copilot. Okay, it doesn't have anything good. So this is obviously a custom action that's running. All right. So it looks like this is still working. Now, honestly, the first time I played with this, I had to go off and make myself a cup of coffee while I waited because it does take a while. As you can see, we're 8 minutes. We're 8 minutes in. It does start updating things, so it'll assign it back to me, which I think it has done when it's ready. Started work, implement. No, it doesn't look like it's finished yet. Let's check the actions. Yeah, it's still running. Okay. So let's see what's going on here. Now you can also cancel the coding agent from here. You can view the session. You can check out the branch. There's not really much else we can do right now. I wish. Okay, it looks like something's happening. Looks like it might be finished soon. Let's have a look. No, 12 of 13 tasks. Still busy. What's it busy with? Manual testing and verification. Okay. So let's see what it's built. Create main plugin file, WordPress headers and activation to activation hooks, set up custom user role applicant, create custom post type job application, implement registration login system, create Gutenberg block. That should be interesting. Build form with personal info fields and PDF resume upload, add front-end form submission handler with validation, create admin dashboard for reviewing submissions. That should be interesting as well. Security measures. So this is interesting. It actually has the security measures as an item in the list. Now, does that mean it builds them first? Or it builds them as part of the process, or it adds them afterwards? Who knows? Builds the assets. It's added documentation. That's pretty cool. Include compiled build assets in the repository. Okay. That's not really necessary. And I guess it's busy doing the manual testing right now. So let's have a look at the code that it's building so long. Now, what I can do here is I should be able to check out this branch. So let's see if I can check this branch out. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so there's all the code. So now if I go to my folder, there we go. Okay, it started building some things for me. So let's see what we've got here. All right, so there's one job application.php file. I'm pretty sure this is going to be all inline, going wild. I haven't got any of my PHP IntelliFence things set up, so this is all going to probably fall over. Maybe I should see if I can do that now quickly. I don't remember how to set it all up. It's been a while, so I'm trying to leave it for now. So let's go back here. Let's see something. Okay. So there's version, there's plugin do things. Okay, it's not really following good WordPress coding standards, but that's not the end of the world. registering activation hook to add the application role, the post type, and flush the rewrite rules. It's adding a deactivation hook, which just flushes the rewrite rules. Adding the job add applicant role. So that's an applicant. Okay. Can submit a job application. Interesting. Registering the post type. Cannot create post. Is that even a capability? Is that correct? It's been a while since I've worked with capabilities. I kind of want to search that now. Capabilities create post do not allow. WordPress capabilities create post do not allow. Is that a thing? It's usually false. Oh no, you can. Okay, you can specify do not allow according to this. Let's have a look here. Okay, so it looks like it is something you can do. Okay, good. I learn something new every day. All right. I would love to have this code like reviewed by somebody who's a security researcher and see what they can pick up afterwards. We might find it with the plugin checks. Okay, what else is it doing? It's registering some meta boxes. It's adding some columns. It's registering a Gutenberg block in ye very old style. It's funny. It still doesn't know about the block.json file. Looks like it's going old school with the source code, which is going to be interesting to check out and see if it actually works. There's a random form block. Okay, so it's building a dynamic block. There's the form, post submission. Look, there's a lot that I would do differently, I'll be honest. I am curious to know if this all will work. Okay, let's go back to, this is either going to be the longest or the shortest stream I've done in a while. Okay, so it looks like this PR is ready. See if the job is still running. Because it's still running. Oh, okay, it's still busy. 40 minutes later, it's still busy. Okay, let's see what it's doing. Processing what it's doing now. It's busy. Oh, it's busy adding documentation by the looks of it. Okay. So it's doing that. Okay, so there's still a bunch of work happening here. It's interesting that it marks the documentation as ready. Okay, it's still adding some things. "15 minutes this thing has been running." Now, what is interesting about this is it's doing a lot that I didn't ask for. But if I had started this process, and I've done this, I was working on, so there's, as I say, there was this little shit quickly. There was a little desktop resolution switcher app. I can actually show you how it works. I hadn't planned to show you, but I need to do something while while the bot does its thing. I built this little Electron app that just pops a little menu bar app icon, and it allows me to quickly change my screen resolutions, because I often switch from 2560, 1440, 219, 20 by 1080 for my live streams. And I used to use another app called EasyRaise, but I discovered that EasyRaise no longer exists. For some reason, the app developer fell over, the website's down. It was 2021 when I started using it, or 2022. 2022, I want to say. And somewhere along the line, 2023, the app fell over, and I didn't keep a backup of the app because I thought, you know, I'll find that on the internet. So I ended up building this little app myself, and I did it purely with GitHub Copilot. So if you have a look at every single one of my PRs, you'll see they're all created by Copilot. Every single issue that I created, I assigned to Copilot, and it created a PR. And what you do end up with, though, it's kind of funny, is you do end up with a release log that gives Copilot props for their first contribution. So I thought that was quite funny when I saw that. But I literally didn't write any of this code. It's all JavaScript inside of Electron, and it just works. Now, is it open to security issues? Possibly. I encourage anyone who knows about these things to scan this code and let me know if there's issues. But it does work. It does do what it needs to do. It doesn't work with my little teleprompter screen for some reason, but it works on my big screen. It works on my it works on my MacBook screen. It works on my big screen. Icons are a little bit 90s, 2000s, but it works. So that was an interesting experience. Good grief, is Copilot still running? What is Copilot doing now? Let's have a look here. See, files created, documentation. Let's see if it can give us an idea of what it's doing. Final. Okay, so now it's busy creating a final summary. Okay, now what is interesting to me about all of this is apparently this is using one premium request. I can only assume it's using a bunch of non-premium requests. But it is interesting that it uses one premium request. Now, I don't know whether it uses that for the initial plan and then uses normal requests for everything else. But I do like the fact that it at least shows you that. And it makes this point of saying uses fewer premium requests. What that means, I don't know. Oh, this is basically the same page. But it does mean on a pro plan you can get away with quite a lot just by using the agent. Okay, it's still busy. It's been doing its thing now for 19 minutes. So while that's doing that, I am going to set up my testing site. I created this earlier today for testing. I'm going to add the plugin check plugin to it, so we can just test this all manually in the WordPress site. So plugin ret, plugin check. So let's install that. We can basically create a zip file. Oh, I don't know if WPCLI installed it yet. I'll have to install that. All the things I forget that I don't have installed. Maybe I do have. Let me just, do I have WPCLI installed? Let's see. Oh, I do have it installed. Okay. What I don't probably have installed is the dist archive command. So let's do that. WP dist archive. If you don't know about the dist archive command, it's a great WPCLI command to run to create a zip of your plugins or themes or whatever the case may be. I just need to forward a message here quickly. The joys of managing multiple things. Okay, so I think I need to actually install this. Yeah, that's what I thought. So let's do that quickly. that's probably just my PHP version. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Okay, so if we go, we don't have that code. Oh, finish now. Okay, let's see if this thing's finishing. Have you finished doing your thing? Yes, it's done. So it actually gives you a little update. Copilot finished work on behalf of blah. Requested a view from you. It actually changes the name of with the title, at least, of the issue. So it's a little bit more readable. And what I have done in the past is I've actually requested Copilot to do a review of its own code. That's always an interesting one. I'm not going to do that now. But let's refresh this pull request. And let's see what this does. So let's refresh this one. And then let's get the latest changes. Okay, so we've got the latest code. It's a hell of a long file. It's 420 lines of code. What I want to do now is I want to just test the functionality. Does the functionality work? So that'll be step one. If the functionality works, I'm going to run plugin check against it. We'll see what plugin check gives us. And then once we get some stuff from plugin check, then I want to run PHP-CS and see what that does. So let's go and open up. Forgotten how this works. No, I can't remember. Let's open the terminal here. And let's say SOP dist archive JB application. That should create the file. Perfect. So now let's install it on a WordPress site. See what happens. Activate that. Let's add this plugin. First thing I want to do there is I want to enable the debug log. So we open this test site. Yes, trust those. You can tell this is a brand new install. Everything's untrusted. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I'm going to have to write some code here. Actually, no, I don't have to write any code. I'm going to use my... It's another thing. I don't like writing code if I don't have to. So I'm going to use my little debug app. Let's see here. WP debug. And let's get the latest release of that. So I want that one. So this is another little app that I built. I think I used Cursor for this one, but this is also an Electron app that I vibe coded, and it works pretty well so far. So let's move this into applications, and then I need to bypass the security checking because I don't have this. I don't have a Apple developer account, so I can't sign these things. That one. Right. There. Okay, so now I should be able to run my little debug app. And I should be able to select a WordPress directory. And this should enable debugging. Okay, so that's all there. Let's have a look if it did that. Yeah, there we go. Folks, I think I just heard something. I might need to just hop off for a second. Give me a minute. Sorry about that. I'm currently the only person in the office, and somebody rang the front gate to go see what was going on. It's Friday afternoon in Cape Town. Everybody's off doing things. Okay, so my debugger app is working, so I can see if there's any errors in the log. Let's enable this plugin and see what happens. See if it all falls over. Okay, let's see if I can activate it. Okay, it activated. There's no errors in the log, so that's good. I'm trying to disable this Gutenberg check here. So let's first see if we can use it. So there is a job applications page. That's great. Let's create a job application page and see if we can add the block, what that looks like. Oh, blast. I completely forgot about the patterns that pops up when you create a new page. So I should have a job application form. There we go. Okay, the form will be displayed to authenticate applicants on the front end. That's fine. I don't have a huge problem with that. I do like to see what it's going to look like in the editor, but that's okay. Maybe that's an issue we create. Yeah, let's do that. Let's create some issues while we're here. So let's go to, and this is something that I actually reached out to the folks from GitHub and VS Code, and I said, is there a way for me to do this from VS Code? And they said, yes, this extension, the GitHub pull request extension. So let's see if I can create a new issue from here. It doesn't look like I can. Right, maybe there. I can create a new issue. Excellent. Okay. Show the form layout in the editor when adding the block to a post or page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. Now this is where it gets interesting because I don't know. First line will be title. Okay, so the first line is the title. So let's say block rendering in the editor. And then we'll do that. I'm hoping that'll add it as the description. I'm not going to assign it to anybody yet. So I'm not going to give it a label. I'm going to give it a 1.0.0.1 milestone. And then I'll leave the rest as is. So let's create that. Okay, so that creates the issue. Let's have a look at my issues. There we go, block rendering in the editor. Okay, so that's cool. All right, so that's the first issue that we see. So now let's publish it. Let's see what it looks like on the front end. Okay, simple form, first name, last name, email, phone, and a PDF. Do I even have a PDF on my machine somewhere? I don't think I do. Okay, so I'm going to create a PDF. I just moved my screen around. That was silly. Moving things all over the place. I think I have my CV lying around somewhere. So I'm going to grab that quickly. Yes, I do have it. So this is one. This is actually the one that I sent to Automatic when I applied there. So let's download this as a PDF. Okay, we'll just stick it in the desktop for now. Okay, so let's do a quick test. Jonathan, passenger, Jonathan. I'm going to make up a number. And then I'm going to choose the PDF. I'm going and submit. Okay, that seems to have worked. Let's go back into the dashboard. Let's go job applications. Okay, there's the application. If I click on view, it shows me the resume. Now what I want to see is whether that resume is available in a private window. It is. So that's not supposed to happen. Okay. We're supposed to handle these things securely. Which is fine. That's fine. We can log that as an issue. Okay, so let's go back into here. Let's go here. Let's say store PDF uploads securely. I don't know how it's going to handle that because WordPress is not really designed for that kind of thing. It's securely spelled right. I can't tell. Did you mean securely? I don't know. Which one did I mean? Securely. I think that's right. Okay, so let's say at the moment it is possible to copy the PDF URL and access it without being a logged in user. All PDFs should only be accessible to authenticated users. Now, I don't think this is necessarily possible because I feel like you have to have something set up on the server for this to happen. This is kind of the nature of WordPress. You know, content and media is public. So I don't know what the bot's going to do with that. That'll be interesting. Okay, let's create that. All right. So far, that's all I can find. I am going to, if you want to play along, if you want to play this game along with me, I'm going to merge this PR. And then you're welcome to test it out on your side. And if you find anything, you're welcome to submit issues. But for a first run, I'm gonna merge this. Everything seems to. Let's just check if there were no issues in the debug log, so that's good. So let's do a pull request. Let's merge it. And so there's our code. It's in the JV job application GitHub repository. It should all be public, so if you want to pull it down and check it out, you're more than welcome to. Look at all these markdown files. Okay. What I can do now is I can go back and I can switch back to the main branch. And then I can sync all of these changes. And then I should have, wait, did that merge? No, it did merge. No, let's create a pull request. I don't want to create a pull request. I want the latest code. How do I get the latest code? Oh, there, pull. Okay, so that gives me all of that. So that's all there, that's great. So now let's do some checks. Let's see what plugin check tells us. So if we go back to here, let's check a plugin. Let's check job application. Let's enable everything. And go. Okay. It's definitely finding some escaping function issues. Perform informed data without non-specification. Now, the question is is it doing that earlier, and that's why it thinks it's okay to do it where it is. So where would that be? Let's see. Line 258. Let's look. Okay, so I mean, that is bad, but it's not the biggest issue in the world because it's just showing a message if an application submitted thing is done. So not the end of the world. Is that what the error was? Processing form data, yeah. Yeah. So that, I mean, let's just have a look here. You see, it's doing a user, it's doing it is user logged in check. And then it's checking if the current user is an applicant. And then it's rendering the form. There is a nonce field being created, and the form submission is doing a nonce verification. So it's not the end of the world, but it really should have something around. It's interesting that it's picked. I wonder if the plugin check is the problem. 125. Let's just see that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 6. Yeah, so it is on the get. That's an interesting one. Like, it's just for rendering that message. So it's not the biggest security issue in the world. But okay. So it's definitely picking up issues. Look at this one, for example, 127. All output should be run through an escaping function like escape found E. See, again, it's just a name, so it's just a string. So maybe this is the plugin check plugin being a little bit over eager. Because it is using escaping functions on variables, which is right. So I feel like that's a bit of a false positive. Now here's where I'd like to be able to, and I have played with this before, basically say to it, check that everything should be run through an escaping function. So here's I'm almost sure that every time it's calling or showing this error, it might be okay. I mean, if it changes it to an escaping function, it's not the end of the world, let's be honest. So what we could do now, for example, is we could create an issue saying something like this. Let's go back here. And let's say use escaping functions throughout. Plugin check. Wait, let's say multiple plugin check errors reported. And let's give it the error. Okay. And let's give that a milestone. 1.0.1. Now here's where it gets interesting. So as a developer, right? Me, someone who writes code. I probably wouldn't have built the plugin this way. Number one. I don't like having forms rendered necessarily in this way. But that's a whole different conversation. If I wasn't a developer, I wouldn't know about being able to use plugin check. However, plugin check is available. So this kind of leads me to the point of what I'm doing here today. I'm feeling like it's starting to get to a point where the software development part of what we do is becoming more and more using tools to improve the AI generated content, because the AI generated content is getting pretty good. As you can see, it works. Might not be the cleanest code, might not be the most well structured code, but the functionality works. So if I can spend enough time logging these issues and getting the bot to fix them. So for example, this one, I mean, here are how many? 1, 2, there's a whole bunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, this much, right? If I can list that as an issue, which I've just done, and then go back and tell Copilot to fix it, and here's the crux of the thing. If it is able to fix that list of errors correctly, then I don't need to. Then I can go off and I can do something else. And that's kind of where I think this is all moving towards, is handing off tasks to an agent. It does the best it can do, which is maybe 75% of what needs to be done. And then you massage it through to the last 25%. But you're still not physically writing the code. You just have the knowledge and the understanding and the tools to use, to run, to check. And then you then give that information to the agent. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to assign this issue to the agent. And I want to see what it does. I want to see if it fixes all of those instances. And we end up with less of them in plugin check. Theoretically, that should happen. If it works well. So let's have a look. Right. The other thing I want to do is I want to add WordPress coding standards to this thing. So I'm going to do that. No, that's not what I want. GitHub WPCs. There we go. So I prefer to do this on a per project basis in the command line. I don't have Composer installed yet. I need to install Composer. Okay, let's get that installed. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. Okay, so I like to set up the PHP coding standards on a per project basis. So that's all this lot over here. So it looks like Composer is installed, so that's great. So let's grab the first line here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this inside the project folder. Okay, so you might consider this writing code. I think there are ways you can do this in your IDE. In fact, I know there are ways you can do this. There's an extension that I actually help maintain that allows me to do this in my IDE. It still requires me to install PHPCS globally, so there's still some steps involved, but once it's set up, then it works. But for now, I'm going to do it this way because this way is just quicker. So forgive me if I'm cheating a little bit today. Okay, so yes. Okay, so then we install the plugin and then we can require coding standards. Alrighty. So let's see what that gives us. Clear this. Okay. Lots of issues. Now what's cool is that PHP-CDF can mark the violations automatically. Because if you look at it, it's mostly spaces and various other things. So I'm going to leave that for now. I want to get back to seeing what Copilot has done with this issue that I assigned it. Okay, let's have a look at the code so far. Okay, so it looks like it's actually managing to figure this out because of the information that I gave it. Which is kind of cool. If I run WPCS against this code now, I'm going to have issues. So what I'm going to do is wait for this thing to finish. Right, let's go back here. What's it doing now? Oh, it's actually just finished. Okay. Okay, so it's requested my review, so it's finished doing its thing. So now what I want to do is this. I want to commit this to the master branch. So let's go back over here and let's do this. And let us adding PHP-CS support. So let's commit that. Okay, and then let's give that a push. Cool, so that's done. So then what I want to do is I want to run PHP CBF to fix all of this. If we look through this, most of this is package tags, inline comment issues, spaces, inline comments, spaces, white space, tabs. I'm not seeing anything major. It says, let's just see here. There are So it says here PHP-CBF can fix the 609 violations automatically. Let's see if we can do that. So PHP-CBF, and I think that'll just work. Yeah. So there's 82 remaining. So if we run that again, that gives us the 82 issues. So it's about inline comments and that kind of thing. What? Why did it say there's 82 remaining? Oh, it's online, 73 and 10 warnings. Okay. Okay, so it's package tags, inline comments. There's the output issue. So that'll go away once we fix that. Doc comment for parameters. All output should be run through escaping function. So a lot of that kind of stuff will get picked up by plugin check. There's a bunch of those as well. There's a Yoda condition check. So we can mention that. Ooh, loose comparisons are not allowed. Expected that, found that. Interesting. That might be a good one to fix. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to commit those changes. So let's say automatically fixing some PHP CS errors, and we'll commit that. Okay. Now with that committed, I should get a little bit of a problem with the pull request, because now I'm going from, oh no, it doesn't seem to have caused any trouble there. Let's go back here. Okay, so that's fixing the pull request stuff. Let's just see here. Might have to refresh that pull request. This is interesting. Line, what line am I on there? Line 127 now has a space where it should be. And if I go to the file, it definitely has the space. But when I go to the pull request, it doesn't show that it's removing the space. Oh, because it's doing the whole line, that's why. Defensive changes. No. I should have done this after I did the oh, that might be because it's still in review. It's still in a work in progress. That might be why. Let's go ready for review. Let's see what that does. No, that's interesting. I wonder why it does that. Okay, so there's a way around this. Again, somebody who wasn't a developer might not think about this. I don't have the stuff installed yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to merge the code. Okay, I'm going to merge this code. Because that all looks good. Ah, there we go, resolve conflicts. There we go. There are conflicts that need resolving. So let's resolve them. Okay, so that's our problem. Now, I wonder if we can ask the bot to resolve these. No, we can't. It's interesting it doesn't show up in there. It must be a GitHub thing. It's because I went and made a whole bunch of changes. Silly. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We will close this. And we will go back to that issue. And we will ask it to do it again. Undo it. We're going to try and do it again. See if that'll work. Okay, that works. That's cool. Okay, that's my own fault trying to do multiple things to the code at the same time. But essentially, that's how you could work. You could run a tool, log the issue, get it to fix the issue, log the next issue. So you could grab this one, for example. Now the question is, will it fix? I think it'll just. I think it just fixed those. It might have fixed others. I don't know. It's not great for live streaming because it does need sitting watching watching the bot do its thing. But it is a way that I've found to kind of let GitHub Copilot go off and do what it needs to do. So if you have a GitHub Copilot Pro account, let's put it this way. If you don't have one, thanks, Gary. GitHub Copilot Pro. But you happen to be an open source maintainer, so you have open source projects that you work on. There is an open source maintainers license. I'm trying to find GitHub Copilot open source maintainers license. They don't publish the criteria for popular open source projects, but you must be a verified maintainer with rights or admin access to a popular project. So for me, I was able to get it because at the time that I applied, I was, let me just find it here. I was the maintainer. No, that's wrong. Where is it now? No, I'm not going to find it, am I? There we go. So at the time that I applied for GitHub Copilot, I was the main maintainer on this plugin. And I don't know what determines how popular a plugin is. We had 66 contributors. We had 137 stars, 76 forks. So it might have been the combination of that and my WordPress stuff. I don't know. But I was able to get the GitHub Copilot maintainers license, open source maintainers license. So you basically go to GitHub Copilot, and you check your eligibility there. I don't actually know what it looks like because obviously I applied for mine a while back. But if you go to this page and you do qualify, you can apply and you're good to go. And my recommendation is to try it out with a couple of small things like escaping functions not being done correctly, or whatever the case may be. Because I do feel like for those kinds of things, it can be very useful. But also just for building out, trying like a first version of a new feature and then taking that code and improving on it. I've been doing a lot of agentic coding lately. So I give the agent the prompt, I give it the instructions, I let it know what it needs to do, and then I let it go off and do its thing. And it's definitely, I think, a lot better experience than using something like cursor and vibe coding in your IDE while you sit and wait for the thing to happen. I really like how GitHub have implemented all of this within GitHub itself. So there's spots of code with agent mode here. You've got the little agents panel there. You've got chat there. You can assign Copilot as a reviewer on pull requests. As I showed you earlier, when you create the project, you can give it a prompt. You can work it through from there. Once you're in VS Code, you can use the GitHub pull request extension. You can view your pull requests. You can create issues from VS Code. But it's all within your control, and I think that is the big thing. You retain control. You are seeing what's going on. What I like about the GitHub agent side of things is it's not working on my machine. So I don't have to worry about giving it access to things that it shouldn't have access to on my computer. As you saw, if we have a look at the action that runs, it essentially connects a GitHub MCP server and a Playwright MCP server. So I'm guessing Playwright is for testing. And that's pretty much all the MCP stuff that it has access to. And the rest is just its standard model that it's working on. What model it's working on, I'm not 100% sure. But you can go through and you can check what it's doing if you want to. You can sort of get an idea of what it's getting at, what it's doing. Ooh, look, it's actually looking for PHPCS stuff. That's kind of cool. Did it run? It ran PHPCS after I installed it. That's cool. Is it actually going to fix those things now? Wow. Okay, no, it's just running and it's checking for any errors there. Okay. So that's kind of cool. So now it knows it can use that stuff to check for errors and for that kind of thing. So that's cool. You could add support for like PHP Stan or SOM and have that running on your project. You could build in your tests and have your tests. It seems it picks up if you have tests, it'll run your tests. So I'm starting to feel like this is getting to a point where you can do a lot more with a lot less and be a lot more efficient using these agents. So I'm definitely going to be playing with this a lot more lately. It's definitely not something that is exciting as for a stream, which Carolina, thank you so much for saying it. Don't have to worry about it. I'll be honest, I get bored waiting for the bot. And so what I want to go do is go do something else. But I can't do the something else because I'm on the stream. So it makes that a bit difficult. So I end up rambling, which is not ideal. But I'm quite excited about this as a way of building things. Maybe not necessarily final production code, maybe just first versions. Maybe just getting you started on something. But as you saw, it is perfectly functional. You could submit this plugin to if you fix all of these issues, then you'd be able to submit this plugin to the repo. You could fix all these issues using GitHub Copilot. So the space where you have to write all the code yourself, I think, is definitely becoming more of a gray area. What I don't know is whether we'll ever get to a point where it's fully agent driven. Like these tasks that are running here are taking a heck of a long time, in my opinion. and I almost feel like I need to be able to work on multiple things at the same time now, which I could with this. Now the downside to that is, as we just saw, if I was working on PHP-CS and then letting the agent fix the escaping problem, then I end up with code conflict issues. So it'd be cool if the Copilot agent could fix those as well on the PR. It doesn't seem to currently be able to do that. But it certainly is. I'm starting to see like a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel as to what we're getting up with. It's cheap viewers people again. Let me just go and ban that person. I miss having my chat window in OBS. I'll be honest. Okay, is this thing still going? Ah, there we go. We seem to be done now. WordPress plugin check, report to multiple errors. Placed all of that with that with that. Okay, let's pick up the labels issues. Firewall rules block me from connecting to one or more addresses. What's it trying to connect to? Oh, it was trying to run the PHP-CS stuff. Ooh. Okay. Okay, let's see if merging this gets rid of some of those plugin check issues. Let's have a look. Okay, here we got the latest code now. Yeah, looks like it. So we had, let's go back to plugin check. We had, it's difficult to say how many, quite a few. Let's run it again and see what we get. Still getting those errors. I-127. Has plugin check lost its mind? What? Oh. Oh, you know what this could be? This could be a studio thing. I think Studio sometimes has an issue with refreshing the files when they change on the... Oh, no, it's not. I'm an idiot. That's what it is. I'm an idiot. I'm not working in the plugin code. I'm working in the project folder. So let's zip this up. Stupid. So let's go to op dist archive jp child application. Okay, we want to replace it. I should really just stick this in the WordPress site. Make my life a lot easier. So let's go add the go away. Where is it? So let's go add the new plugin. If you didn't know this, you can upload a plugin over a plugin. It's a feature that got merged a couple of years ago. It's quite handy for testing. Let's replace. And that should be done now. Okay, so now let's do another plugin check. Okay, much better. We definitely got rid of some of those issues. So it looks like this is a better way. Some of you might remember Carolina was probably there a while back where I was trying to get the agent to read the plugin check response and then fix the errors. And I wasn't getting very far. This seems to be a better way around that. So if I give it the thing, and you can give it the line number, for example, create one issue, and then run that, then it looks like it'll fix those things a lot better. This is a bit of a false positive because this is the readme.md file, which is not going to have the tested up to and those things. But I do feel like we're getting to a point where it would be pretty trivial to copy these messages that are duplicated, stick them in an issue, let Copilot fix it, come back and test, and eventually get this to a point where it is fixed. So getting back to my original idea behind today, I didn't write any code. I did run a couple of commands to set up PHP-CS, which I could do differently. But I did create issues. I did create pull requests. I assigned them to the bot. The bot seems to have done a pretty good job of fixing that issue. So I'm going to keep working on this in my spare time and finally get this thing to where it's at a point where it could be submitted to the plugin repository. And I'm going to try and do it using GitHub Copilot. So if you want to check out the code, it's there. You are welcome to, if you know anything about security and how to test these things for security, you're welcome to log issues. I'd love to know. Maybe don't do it tomorrow. Carolina says should automate that step too. Absolutely. Because I want to finish all of the stuff that I can pick up by plugin check and through PHP-CS. So give me a week to work on this. And I might bring it up again in a future stream. And then I'd love to get anybody who knows about security. I might even submit it to a couple of security places myself and say, hey, would you mind telling me what you find? But I'm going to finish this project without writing any more code, just using the Copilot bot. So that's my bit for today. I didn't get as much done in 90 minutes as I wanted to. I should have probably expected more issues to fix because of the size, just the pure size of the plugin, and what it can do. But I'll keep logging issues. Did I log that issue about? You know what I'm going to do? Just before we go, I'll let you come and check this out later if you want to. I'm going to assign this to the Copilot bot, and I'll come back and check this tomorrow, and I'll see what it comes up with. But if you want to see it yourself, go hop onto the repo in a couple of hours and go see what Copilot did with that PDF secure issue. I'd love to figure out. I'd love to see what it does with that. All right, that's going to be for me today, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. I apologize for any technical issues. I won't see you next week Friday because I'm going to be on leave, but I'll be back in 2 weeks. Hopefully picking up my sending streams, my theme development streams. But that's me for today. Bye.